Hello aspirants. In our previous video, we discussed about how to revise 3 times in next 3 months. So as a part of that video, I mentioned that time has come to solve as many test series as possible. So on the same lines, in this video, we are going to discuss about why to solve these test series and how to analyze this test series and how many test series to be solved actually. Fine. So without any delay, let's get started. Let's start with our first question, why to solve the tests? Is it for marks? Absolutely not. Then why to solve this test? First thing is to identify your safe number of atoms. So now, what is this safe number of atoms means? So irrespective of difficulty of paper, it requires you are supposed to answer certain number of questions which will keep you in the safe zone. Fine. For few people it is from 80 to 85 and for few of us it is 85 to 90 and for some people it is greater than 90. And people with high accuracy even attempt less than 80 questions but still clear the exam. So you are supposed to identify your safe number of atoms by attempting this mocks. Fine. And second thing is to get familiar with the unexpected paper. No matter since how many years you are preparing for the exam, it is that 2 hours which determines whether you are going to write mains or not. Fine. So if you won't get familiar with this unexpected paper or the difficulty papers, you won't even understand. You'll get panic as soon as you see the paper and you don't even realize that 2 hours have passed away. So for mental stability we can say, to have mental calmness and the mental stability, you must be familiar with this unexpected paper or difficulty paper and you must be aware of how to deal with that paper in that 2 hours. And this third thing is to revise the subject. Mock test will be a great channel to revise your subject and it helps in increasing the retention of the subject. Besides, the mock test also gives you additional concepts which you can't find in your conventional sources. And finally, through mock tests, you are supposed to segregate what are your strengths and what is your weakness. Fine. And you are supposed to work on your weakness at the same time you must supposed to hold your strengths for your prelims. So these are the 5 things which demands you to solve the mock tests before giving the main test on June 27. So what are that 5 things? One is to identify your safe number of atoms and then to get familiar with the unexpected paper, to revise the subject and to increase the retention of the subject and learn about additional concepts and identifying your strengths and weaknesses. Fine. So let's move on to our next dimension. Okay, now let's discuss about how to analyze the test. Is giving mock test is just to give a mock test and knowing your score? That's it? No, absolutely not. You are supposed to analyze each and every mock. Now how to do this? For example, see, one thing I suggest you people is try to give mock test at least till the date of prelims, alternative days from 7 to 9. This helps you in tuning your brain in that timings to make your brain to be active in those timings. Soon after you are attempting a mock test, you are supposed to analyze the same. Let's suppose you have given a mock test from 7 AM to 9 AM. So soon after this test, you are supposed to look at your mistakes that you have done. Fine. So if it is a new concept, you are supposed to note it down in the book. And if it is the old concept or the static concept which you have committed wrong, be it for the misinterpretation or you couldn't remember the topic, you are supposed to go back to the reference book immediately at that moment. Fine. This helps you in increasing the retention of that topic and it prevents you from committing the similar mistakes in your future mocks. Fine. So this is one thing. And second thing is you are supposed to identify the reasons. Identify the reasons behind your wrong answers. Is it because of wrong interpretation? Is it because you are lacking that conceptual clarity? Is it because you are weak in the current affairs? So there how you are supposed to analyze it and identify your strength. You are supposed to segregate your marks or your scoring. Is your accuracy is high in polity or environment or geography? So what is your strength? You are supposed to identify your strength from your mock result. Fine, so this is one thing, how to analyze the test. So first you're supposed to look at your mistakes immediately and now note on the new concepts and visit your reference to revise the old concepts. And then identify the reasons why you're committing the wrong answers. Is it because of wrong interpretation or because of missing the conceptual clarity about that, or because wrong bubbling? So even that happens in the examination hall. Try to avoid that silly mistakes. And then finally you are supposed to segregate your strengths. How is your accuracy in different subjects like polity, environment and geography and so. Fine. So this is about the analyzing the test. Now let's look at finally the most requested question. How many tests to be solved? So you are supposed to solve at least between 50 to 60 tests by June 27th. Let's assume by June 15th. Fine. You are supposed to solve 50 to 60 tests. It is because of the reasons that we have discussed previously, be it for the revision of the subject or for the additional concepts or for the get familiar with the difficulty level, or to increase your pace of preparation and all. So now by June 15th, now what you're supposed to do from June 15th to 25th, as 27th is our exam. Note it down and underline it, mind it. You are supposed to solve previous year's question papers of prelims, UPSC previous year's question papers. It helps you in understanding the level or the pattern of UPSC, which is a prerequisite to clear the prelims. Trust me, it is very important. It will be a game changer for you. Even though you have prepared only 70% of the syllabus, if you solve the UPSC previous year's questions, it helps you in knowing the tricks that you are supposed to solve, what kind of options the UPSC gives. Fine. So you can actually interpret the mindset of the UPSC by solving this previous year's questions. So you are supposed to solve the previous at least of 10 years from June 15th to 25th. Fine. This helps you in tuning yourself towards the UPSC paper that you are going to write on 27th. This is regarding how many tests we are supposed to solve. Now, the question comes, how are we supposed to solve these tests? We have hardly more than 80 days. Less than 80 days. So now how to solve these tests? So now let's plan it. So now let's suppose you have 45 days. Today is 19th to April 30th. I think less than 45 days, we can consider 43 days. Fine. And then from May 1st. So I am dividing this timeline based upon the schedule we planned for these 3 months. Fine. And then June 1st to June 15th. So according to our schedule, we are going to complete all the static part revision by April 30th. Fine. So that is the reason in these days we are going to solve the test alternatively. 1 day test and 1 day solution of that. For example, in 1 week, we are going to solve 3 tests. And Sunday, revision of all these 3 tests. Like that, let's suppose that we're going to complete 20 tests in this period, in our first cycle of revision. And in the second cycle of revision, you are supposed to write test every day because you have already done with the first cycle of revision according to our strategy that we have discussed in the previous video. So you are done with your static part and current affairs. So now you are in a position to attempt a test every day excluding Sundays. Fine. If we eliminate 4 Sundays for suppose, let's consider here we're gonna write 27 tests. So here we're done with 47 tests, and in this we are supposed to write 13 tests. So done with 60 tests. So it is not just about writing a test and analyzing the test. No. What matters is revision and re-revision of tests. Now how to revise and re-revise this subject. For example, let us consider in week 1, you have written a test on Monday and then Wednesday and Friday. Fine. On Sunday, you are supposed to revise all these 3 tests. Now in week 2, when you are going to write other 3 tests and the Sunday of that week 2, you are supposed to revise these 3 tests and also the previously written 3 tests of week 1. So this is how you are supposed to revise your tests. So if you do this, then in the last 10 days, whatever we have planned, our strategy is going to finish off in 15. So in 15, from 15th to 25th, you can easily revise off these 60 tests. Trust me, you can even do 2 times revision of this 60 tests if you revise these tests initially in this pattern. Fine. So this is how you are supposed to revise and re-revise the subject. So this is it with the motto of this video: how to solve a test, why to solve a test, and how many tests to be solved. If you find this video useful, you can like, share and subscribe to this channel. Thank you, have a nice day and all the best.